Hello, my name is Dorothy Ann Williams, and this presentation is on problem-based learning. What is problem-based learning? Problem-based learning is an approach that challenges students to learn through engagement in real problems. It is student-centered, in which the student learns about a subject by working in groups with open-ended problems. Problem-based learning makes a fundamental shift from focusing on teaching to focusing on learning. By the students working with real problems and working in groups, this helps motivate them to learn. So why do we want to use problem-based learning in the classroom? I believe a good reason to use problem-based learning in the classroom is our PBL is that it forces the student to take ownership in the learning process. It forces the students to become engaged in their learning, and they'll take an active role in their learning. I found a good video that would tell us more about PBL. Now, in this video, it does mention the health field, in that PBL was first designed and used in the medical institution, but it is applicable for the K-12 environment. Let's listen to hear more about that. I thought this video was an excellent way of explaining what problem-based learning is, a PBL. It is just a basic diagram right here showing that what problem-based learning is: a small group teaching environment, and it explains everything what we've talked about so far. So I also found a couple of cool articles telling us about the advantages of problem-based learning. We can take a look at one of them. It's from the K-12 website, and it talks about the advantages of problem-based learning. Some of the advantages can include, of course, it fosters student-centered learning. It upholds lifelong learning. That problem-based learning gives emphasis to lifelong learning by developing in students the potential to determine their own goals, locate appropriate resources for learning, and assume responsibility to what they need to know. It also greatly helps them to better long-term knowledge retention. Another advantage is that they will better understand um, the aptness. I'm sorry if I kind of messed that word up. By giving more significance to the meaning of applicability and relevance to the learning material that they understand. Another thing is it reinforces interpersonal skills and team um, work. It also is a great self-motivator and attitude. Another article that I found that was very useful is if you look at the Educational Central website, and it tells us some of the benefits as well um, for PBL. It also tells us from there we learn that one of the fundamental levels one of the fundamental things is that when solving a problem, a student or a group of students they collaborate, they use their critical thinking knowledge and collectively acquire a solution to the problem. This is one of the great benefits of it. Of course, if we have any benefits, you're also going to have some disadvantages. And some disadvantages of problem-based learning would be that it's more focused on group workmanship. So as far as them, it can be a potential downer to them not being able to perform well on standardized tests, in that it doesn't really promote taking test taking skills. The students may be prepared, they may not be mature enough to handle the material. They may not have enough knowledge base to be able to be to be able to handle material. Another thing is that the teacher may be unprepared. That the teacher may be a traditional teacher in that they're used to being up in front of the classroom teaching, whereas this is more PBL is the teacher incorporate is forcing the students to answer questions. So you are asking the students questions that will prompt them to think of what the answer is. So you will lead them to the answer opposed to telling them what the answer is. It can be time consuming. Um, these are some of the disadvantages of PBL. Now, when it says time consuming, it may that be time consuming in that it's something new to you and that you have to learn it. So once you get over the learning curve, it may not be considered as a time consumer. So why use problem-based learning? Why would you use problem-based learning? Just think about it. I would use problem-based learning is it provides the students with an opportunity to develop several different things. Nelson said some of the things that students can develop would be the ability to work in teams. It can improve their oral and written communication and make them self-aware and evaluation of group processes. It allows the students the autonomy to work independently. Um, it increases critical thinking and analysis skills. They would be able to explain concepts. They'll become more self-directed in their learning, and they'll be able to apply course content to real-world problems. And one of the big things that I like about problem-based learning is that because it forces the students to become more active in their learning, they're going to learn how to self-control, use self-control to be able to discipline themselves. This is when this is why you would use it. Now, how would problem-based learning look in your classroom? Now, I teach a science class, and in my classroom, problem-based learning is going to be something that's great. I've actually used it um, before, especially in group settings when students are learning about different systems or different how the weather works. These things, uh, subjects that you can use. Well, one subject in this, because I teach science, I think it would be great. Another question I would think: what subject area would you best use problem-based learning? Science is a great subject area. I think all of the subject areas are great to use PBL. These are my resources that I use, and thank you so very much for listening.